everyone. Thanks for joining. We are already live on Zoom and we are live on Facebook. Thanks for our already first participants for joining, and thanks for our guests for tuning in. My name is Georgi, and today I will be least important person of today's webinar. So you can see all the main people on the screen. And long story short, I will not take a lot of time from our guests. I will quickly jump into the presentation from my side. And introduce you to our guests, and we can start already with our first speaker. So as you may know, guys, our topic today is studying electrical engineering in Germany. And you can see our guests on the screen, also here on the slide. We have guests from 5 universities, and they will present accordingly 5 programs. And let us now already jump quickly into our first guest. So from University of Stuttgart, Professor Dr. Ingmar Kallfass will do his presentation about electrical engineering program on master's level. So I will stop sharing my screen already and invite Professor Dr. Kallfass to the floor.
Thank you very much, Georgi, for the nice introduction. Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Ingmar Kallfass. I am with the University of Stuttgart in southwestern Germany, and I am the Dean of Studies for the study degrees in electrical engineering, among others, the English-spoken electrical engineering Masters of Science. Let me first tell you or congratulate you. If you are interested in studying electrical engineering, this is exactly the thing to do in today's technological world. Because I would venture to say that there are few systems today which are not either already electrified, digitized, and connected, or which are in the process of becoming so. Okay? I guess the most striking example is automotive. Mobility in all of its diversity and in all of its forms. We all know that cars will be highly connected. We try to make them autonomous. And of course, they are fully electrified and electrically powered. But that is just one example. We, of course, have very strong development in information and communication technologies. We have the 6th generation of mobile communication networks coming up. And the world of electrical engineering is even larger. In automation, in medical science, and of course in the large area of renewable energies, we need electrical engineers. And I can tell you from my experience here in a highly industrialized region in southwestern Germany that the demand for electrical engineers is today enormous. All companies are extremely interested and requiring electrical engineers. So it is the right thing to study. The University of Stuttgart, we are one of the larger technically oriented universities. We have about 25,000 students which are enrolled in a total of 10 faculties which come from natural sciences, but also a strong focus on engineering sciences, among others, the electrical engineering department. All in all, we are around 260 full professors, of which I am one. We are an internationally oriented university, like many others as well. And you will find when you join the university in Stuttgart, you will find about 5,000 international students from all over the world. It is a very multicultural and international environment which you meet here. We have many partner universities throughout the world where you can actually spend some time, gain some experience for abroad studies. Probably the most striking feature of our university is the situation in southwestern Germany. You may know that the head offices and the manufacturing sites of many global players, especially OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers of cars like Daimler, Mercedes, Porsche, are based in Stuttgart. We also have many more companies here. So it is a very industrialized environment. We also the region spends a lot of its investment in research and development. We are among the leaders in Europe in R&D spending. To name just a few of the important companies which are, as I said, highly interested in attracting scientists and engineers from the electrical engineering domain. I will just name a few. I will not name them because I don't want to advertise too much, but you can see, you may recognize some of those companies as being important global players. All of them are located in the Stuttgart area. Okay, we are a university with a long-standing tradition, and you will not only find a, let's say, electrical engineering environment here, but you will find a full-blown university environment with all of its features and flavors. You will be able to integrate cultural activities if you're oriented, if you play an instrument, if you like to sing, if you like to make music. There are many groups, orchestras active in Stuttgart. We have a very successful team, the so-called Dream Team, which develops its own racing car. And guess what? This car is being electrified, and electrical engineers are participating, our students are participating in this endeavor and are very successful in securing top ranks in the races. You will find basically every sporting activity you can do at the university. And we also have a special lab which is created for our students of electrical engineering, where besides the main research activities of our individual institutes, you can also do your own individual project. If you have an idea which you want to realize, we have what is called the StudLab, where you can realize your own projects. And last not least, the fun part, which is coming back, and I'm really glad to say that we seem to be overcoming the pandemic situation. We are back to on-site and face-to-face teaching, of course, in a highly hybrid manner, with also online teaching, but the basic teaching is back to face-to-face. And also the parties are coming back online. And I am proud to say that the students of the electrical engineering departments before the pandemic organized the largest and the most successful and the biggest student party, which is called the Emotions. So, and I really hope that by now, this year, and of course next year, we will be able to offer such kind of nice parties again. Right, a few words of caution, I would say, but also a few words of opportunities if you enroll at a research-oriented university like the University of Stuttgart. I try to summarize on this slide some challenges for the individual student, but which at the same time are important opportunities for you as an individual student. So the first challenge you will meet, I think, is the high degree of self-reliance, which we ask of you, right? It is not a guided program where we will guide you through your individual studies, where we will tell you where to go next, what to do next. You have a lot of degree of freedom, which is a challenge, but also an opportunity to actually create your own studies. So we are asked of you to be very self-reliant. We provide, as a big university, a very large range of elective courses. This differentiates us, I guess, from smaller universities. So if you enroll at one of the large universities in Germany, you will have a large range of electives, and it is up to you to decide which elective you want to take. You will probably be coming from abroad, but that doesn't hinder you to even go a step beyond and integrate an abroad stay in one of our partner universities. You can integrate a semester abroad, or you can integrate an individual research thesis abroad in one of our partner universities. Speaking of research, you will find a very early integration in our research activities. We are a research-oriented university. Each of my colleagues and myself have a team of PhD students with whom we conduct intensive research and development. And as a student from the very first semester, you are able to integrate our research activities, for instance, in the frame of student helper jobs, which even allow you to earn some money and to link the interesting professional experience in contributing to research activities with the useful of earning some money besides your studies. Okay, a few words about our Department of Electrical Engineering, Information Technologies. You will be one of about 1,500 students enrolled in one of our electrical engineering study degrees. We have 6 of them, 6 study programs ranging from the Bachelor of Science to Masters of Science. The research and education activities are essentially supported by and organized by individual institutes, what we call institutes. And we have 15 institutes which are led and managed by 17 full professors, and the professors and their faces you will see here. This is the range of my current colleagues. One position is vacant, which we will fill by the time you arrive in Stuttgart. And those are the experts whom you will meet in the educational activities and who also conduct the research at our university. The Master of Science is bestowed on you after having achieved 120 credits. It has a nominal runtime of 4 semesters. The credits are counted in what is called the ECTS system, the European Course Credit Transfer System. And when we start from the bottom, you will first start to do some courses that will be traditional lectures and exercises, tutorials, and you will perform 36 credits, which is typically 6 courses made of 6 credits from a catalog of a topical major, which you can select. I will present the majors on the next slide. 36 credits are going to come from your major, which is a form of specialization or specialization track. But 30 credits you will be made up of elective courses, which is you can choose from the full department portfolio. There are many courses, and so you can create really your own flavor of this Master of Science. Then there are, of course, also practical lab experience, which you will run through. And then come the 2 major individual scientific works. One is the research thesis, which is made of 15 credits. So already that is a large weight. It's an individual research work, which you will perform either in one of our 15 institutes, or you can also join industry, one of our local players, or you can go anywhere in Germany, you can go anywhere in Europe, you can go anywhere in the world. Us professors help you in finding a position if you want to do this research thesis in industry. And finally, there is the master thesis as the top individual work, which then concludes the Master of Science. It gives you 30 credits with a lot of weight. It's an individual scientific work, which you can perform either at one of our institutes or in one of our partner companies. And finally, the majors from which you can choose. Here you find on the bottom part is the German-speaking master, so that is of less relevance. On the top part, those 6 majors are actually what you can choose from. Within the first semester, you will choose one of these 6 majors. You can specialize in smart information processing. You can specialize in ubiquitous communication systems, nano and optoelectronics, oriented towards semiconductor technologies, then power electronic systems and technologies, smart sensors, and finally, electromagnetics applications. With this, I will finish. I hope to have respected my time slot. Thank you very much for your attention. You make a good choice if you study electrical engineering, no matter where, and especially if you want to enroll at our university. So thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Professor. Yeah, you very much well respected the time limit. Thank you for that, and thank you for a nice presentation. And I also put the email at the end of your presentation in the chat, so if the students want to copy it easier, so it's available for them. Thanks a lot. And now we will move to our another presenter. Let me show you who is that. So as you can see, it's Professor Dr. Jens Förstner from Paderborn University, and he will present a Master of Science program in Electrical Systems Engineering. And yeah, Professor Förstner, the floor is yours now.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, and also thanks for Professor Kallfass for giving a nice introduction why to study electrical engineering at all. So I will focus more on what we offer, or I can focus more on what we offer in Paderborn then. So first, you might not know Paderborn, so it's quite in the center of Germany. Overall, you might not know Germany well, so it's like with 83 million population, not super large, but also industrial quite powerful. We don't have too many large cities, yeah. So there are only 4 cities with over 1 million population, and Paderborn is not, yeah. So Paderborn is more like a medium-sized city. Well, here a few impressions from Paderborn. So it's quite a historic town. It's over 1,000 years old. We have still many historic buildings in the city. We have a small castle just outside. University is now 50 years old. Now we have a large cathedral, which is part of the history of. Population is around 150,000. So for Germany, it's like a medium-sized modern city, and as I said, with some history, very green and safe. We have a lot of cultures, like the world's largest computer museum, for example, and many others. For a city of the size, quite some culture, like a music hall, a theater. The university has its own theater. We have a soccer team, music festivals, a lot of student bars. So quite a nice student life in the city. There's not only Paderborn University, but a few smaller ones. One is Catholic University related to the history. So overall, like 25,000 students in the city. So compared to the population, you see it's really a small university town. In Paderborn and in the region, we have many technology companies. So this is just a list. Maybe you know a few of those. I don't want to get into details. There are also many startups which came from the university, and overall, there are many connections to the companies in the region or in whole Germany, of course. The motto of the university is being the University of Information Society. And well, of course, electrical engineering is quite an important part of the information society. It's mainly one campus with 2 small off-spins, but most is on one side, around 20,000 students overall. 2,400 people working there, half academic. And it's quite a strong research place. Yeah? So we have around 50 million external research funding. That's quite good for a university of that size. I think I can honestly say it's very student-friendly university. We have affordable student accommodation. Yeah, you see here down in the bottom of the picture, these are student dorms. We don't have a tuition fee. There is some administrative fee, but it's quite small. Included in that is actually a free public transport. On campus, we have quite good canteens, restaurants. We have a cafeteria. We have a bar on campus. There's a sports center, its own theater. There's a huge music festival every year if there's not Corona. And well, we have several programs like buddy programs, mentoring programs. Well, here are some impressions. Like, of course, we have a library, and this festival Mensa is quite well. Yeah, so just to give you an impression. So let's go towards electrical engineering. So Paderborn University has 5 faculties, and we are part of this faculty of computer science, electrical engineering, and mathematics. And electrical engineering is one of the 3 departments in this faculty, together with computer science and mathematics. Our electrical engineering department has around, well, very roughly 1,000 students, like 2/3 bachelor, 1/3 master, and actually 60 PhD students. Yeah? So it's also quite good in research. There are 16 full professors with their research groups right now, many of them really with high international profile. We are quite international, so around 30% of our students and of the staff is from outside Germany. So altogether, the department provides an excellent student-staff ratio and an open and international environment. Okay, concerning topics, yeah, you saw we have 16 research groups, so we don't have a real specific focus. It's quite a broad range of topics. We have sort of 3 clusters now, with one cluster being information technology and optoelectronics and photonics. And especially photonics really grew very important at Paderborn University. In the related field of physics, we have a huge center for quantum photonics, and we also take part in this. Then traditionally in electrical engineering, we have a strong automation and control part. And of course, we have electrical energy technology. We have several groups there, electric mobility, power electronics. So everything you would expect in that region. So we have several courses in our department, some bachelor degrees, several master degrees, and 3 of our master programs can be studied in English only. And the 3 are computer engineering, optoelectronics and photonics, and today it's about the electrical systems engineering program. But if you're interested in the other ones, please let me know and I can give more information as well. So now this is probably the core of this talk. What's this program about? So we have 2 core lectures, modeling and simulation and advanced system theory. And then you can choose between 2 focus areas. They are not very specific, they are quite broad. So one is electronics and devices, and the other signal and information processing. And depending on the focus you choose different specialization lectures. Well, but overall, you have a lot of freedom in this master program. On top, you have 6 elective lectures from a really broad range of topics. You can choose quite freely what soft skill courses you want to take. You can take language classes, any other course from university. One is mandatory, which is management of technical projects, but that's quite interesting. So then you can choose in one of the groups a seminar, topics in system engineering. And then you do either 2 half-year or 1 full year group project, which is really hands-on in one of the research groups. Well, and at the end, you do a master thesis for around half a year. So this is the rough structure. You have plenty to choose from, and there are really excellent options. Yeah. Maybe a few comments on the program. So it's quite research oriented in Germany. Universities are in general quite research oriented, and Paderborn especially. This course is completely taught in English. We have state-of-the-art research here, and also many, let's say, extracurricular offers. Yeah? So we have extra tutorial classes if you want that. We have a student electronics lab, a 3D printer lab for students. We have studying areas, writing skill courses, extra programming courses, mentoring programs. We have get-togethers of students with staff twice a year. So I would say quite a lot of offers if you want to take them. We also have opportunities to work on research projects as paid student research assistants. So we know that many of you have to work, so this is probably best to do this in university where you actually learn in something as well. We have a good rating. For example, 2013, I know that's a bit older, this ranking, but that's what's in the slides. We had a really top rating in the overall student satisfaction. Yeah. Then, if you think already one step further, we have many openings for PhD positions in research groups. And currently 13 PhD students are actually from this electrical systems engineering program. Well, we have many students happily leaving us. Yeah? So, for example, this was our 100th alumnus, 𝘗𝘢𝘪𝘥𝘪𝘯𝘨, and he was, as you can read, quite happy with the programs. He notes the personal freedom and the support he got. And what we hear from all our alumni, they quickly get jobs afterwards. Either as PhD students in another university or in our university or in industry. Okay, I don't know about my time. So maybe we can do this in the FAQ about the formal requirements. So let me just quickly summarize. Yeah? So we have a 2-year program. I think that's quite usual. It's research oriented, completely in English. We have like 40% hands-on courses. So this is really our focus. It's a strong research-oriented university and a quite attractive city, as I would say. And for details, just have a look at our website. Oh, thanks.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thanks a lot for this insightful presentation. And yeah, there will be some questions that we can address during our live Q&A, and there's also already one personal question to you in the chat. But yeah, we can deal with all these questions in the live Q&A. Thank you very much. Let's now move forward to our next presenter. Yes, so Dr. Gerd Hofmann from Ansbach University of Applied Sciences, and there's another master program in smart energy systems. Let me stop sharing the screen and invite Dr. Hofmann to the floor.
Probably my colleague, Mr. Hofmann, is waiting for me because I'm also from Ansbach University of Applied Sciences. And actually, I will be doing a short introduction to the university in general. And then my colleague, Mr. Hofmann, will start with a study program. So hello, everyone. Let me just share my presentation with you, and then we can start. So welcome once again. Welcome to the short presentation of Ansbach University of Applied Sciences in general. My name is Veronika Jancokova. I work in the International Student Advisory Service, Career Service, and Alumna, and I am basically your first contact person if you have any general questions regarding studying at our university. So we also offer individual consultations via Zoom, or we also offer online consultation hours. So just write me an email if you're interested. And yeah, let me start with the location of Ansbach and Feuchtwangen, because today it is about the study program Smart Energy Systems, which is located in Feuchtwangen. But basically, our university is located in Ansbach, which is a small city in Bavaria. And as you can see on the right side, Feuchtwangen is one of our campuses. And we are located very close to Nuremberg, which is the next biggest city in the region. Yeah, so this is basically the university and the location. And why should you come to Ansbach? Why should you study at our university in Ansbach or in Feuchtwangen? Our university is one of the youngest universities in Bavaria. As you can see in the pictures, our buildings, laboratories, and equipment are very modern. We are a small university, although we grow every year. This is very good for our students because the study groups are quite small, so the professors can offer top support and mentoring to everyone. And we are a university of applied sciences, which means that our study programs are practice-oriented. The professors have practical background and company experiences. You can do internships during your studies. You work on interesting company projects, and there is also a lot of laboratory work. We have more than 4,000 students in 3 faculties, Faculty of Business, Engineering, and Media. And the master's degree program, Smart Energy Systems, is part of the Faculty of Engineering. And that's the point where I would like to hand it over to my colleague, Mr. Hofmann, and he will introduce the program to you.
Thank you very much, Veronika. So I will also start sharing my screen. Welcome from my side. I'd like to give you an overview of our master program at Campus Feuchtwangen. It's called Smart Energy Systems. It's not directly related. It's not exactly electrical engineering, but it's very related to electric systems. Let me start with what future energy systems might look like. Future energy systems will be smart energy systems. So there will be many consumers, but there will also be a large number of different producers, like photovoltaics on every roof. We will have a lot of windmills offshore and also onshore. We will have other power plants that support our energy system. And we also have a lot of consumers like electromobility and also houses which switch from fossil fuels to electricity for the heating. So a big point in the future will be the decentralization of the power plants. We will no longer have one big power plant in the middle, but we will have lots of decentralized power plants everywhere. All these power plants work in a decarbonized way, so they just use renewable energies, and all these small power plants have to be connected to form smart grid for our power supply. And this combination of small power plants and the communication between the power plants will be digital. So if you study smart energy systems at Campus Feuchtwangen, you will get an expert in smart energy systems. This means you are introduced into the simulation and optimization of energy systems. You get to know how these systems work in detail and how you can get the best out of each one. Also, you will get introduced to the Internet of Things. We have a lot of sensors, a lot of data everywhere, and these data has to be used, and this is where we can use the Internet of Things. Another point is information technology. We need to distribute these data that we gather from different energy systems. We can combine all this data, these informations with artificial intelligence. Nobody wants to adjust the energy production and the energy consumption in the future. We need intelligent systems that distribute the energy by themselves. And also, we have the economy in the energy sector, which is quite important to earn money in the end. So what will the study look like? The study is built in 3 semesters. We have 2 semesters where you have different lectures like simulation of decentralized energy systems. You will get an introduction to LabVIEW programming. You will get to know the basics of artificial intelligence. And then in the second semester, you will have to apply all the knowledge from the first semester, where you simulate virtual power plants, you get into the optimization and operation research. There's a project course where you can build up an intelligent grid where data is shared, and you have to perform different actions. In the end, there's the master thesis to conclude your study. We also have elective courses besides the main courses. Our lectures are given by professors that really have time. The groups are very small. We not only have lectures, we also have workshops like our business game in the energy systems economy, where you get in the role of a businessman who has to manage his own power plant. We also do excursions to different small power plants like photovoltaics or even biogas power plants, where you can see the systems in work in the field. Our elective courses are about German. You can also join a course called Drone Basics. We have the Bavarian Drone Academy at our campus, where you can gather knowledge about how to use drones for different technical applications. What are the requirements to join our course? So you should successfully have completed a university degree, which is equivalent to our bachelor's degree. This must be in the field of some engineering, science, electrical engineering, physics, computer science, or something comparable. We require at least 210 ECTS compared to the German system, and your grade should be better or equal to 2.3. We also require English and German language skills, and a letter of motivation is required for the application. You can start the master's program only in the winter semester, and the application is possible only online via our application portal, where you can find all the required documents listed. Make sure to get your preliminary review documentation from Uni Assist. This is required, and it will take up to 4 to 6 weeks. So submit your documents early if it's necessary for you. For more information, you can visit our homepages. To get a general overview, visit Hochschule Ansbach. For the Campus Feuchtwangen, our office branch, visit campusfeuchtwangen.de. And for more information about Feuchtwangen, there's also a special page called studfoy.de. Then I would love to welcome you at Campus Feuchtwangen to enjoy our master program, Smart Energy Systems. and feel free to contact me if you have any further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Veronika. Thank you very much, Dr. Hofmann. Another insightful presentation, and there are some questions also to you in the Q&A, but again, I'm collecting them, I'm monitoring it, and I will ask this question towards the end. For now, let's move now to our fourth speaker for today. And there was already a question in the chat whether we'll have a bachelor level program. So here it is, as I said, from Rhine-Waal University of Applied Sciences, we have Professor Dr. Andy Stamm, and he will talk about B.Sc program in electrical and electronics engineering. Please, Professor.
All right. All right. Okay. So my name is Andy Stamm. I'm from Rhine-Waal University. We are a quite young university in Germany, just being founded about 10 years ago. The special thing about our university is that, and I'm sorry, maybe moving camera. Yeah. The special thing about our university is that we have been started as basically an English-speaking university only, right? We do have, in the past couple of years, also implemented a couple of German programs, but not at the technology faculty where I'm working in. Okay, so where are we located? We are located there where the red dot is, and that is about, I would say, quite close to the Netherlands border. And to give you an idea, we are about an hour by train from Düsseldorf. So whoever is flying into Germany most certainly flies into Frankfurt or Düsseldorf or Cologne. Düsseldorf would be the closest airport for us. We are, as I said, about 10 years old, and we are up to 7,500 students right now. We have 4 faculties, which spread across 2 campuses. The campus in Kleve is the big campus, which hosts 3 faculties. Wherefrom we are Technology and Bionics, Faculty 1. We have another faculty, Society and Economics. We have a 3rd faculty, Life Sciences. And on our 2nd campus, we have a faculty, Communication and Environment. The special thing about our university, as I already said, we started as an English-speaking university only, and we do have a couple of German programs. We have overall 50% international students at the university. At our faculty, Technology and Bionics, where we offer only English-speaking degrees at bachelor and master level, we have about 90 to 95% students from outside Germany. All right, so we have 5% German students and 95% students coming from up to 114 different countries. And what is the faculty? So to give you an idea, our faculty is hosts about 20% of the students. So that is it's always varying slightly between 1,200 and 1,500 students. We have about 80 staff in total. This includes about 30 professors. And we are, as said on the slide, a very modern equipped campus because the campus was built and fully operational by the end of 2014. So our campus is now about 7 to 8 years basically finished 7 or 8 years ago. And we, in our faculty, hosting majorly the science and engineering programs. We do have we also have a biomaterial science program, which is not straight engineering, but it's also a very technical subject. Up to date labs and facilities, of course, because the campus was opened 2014 and not all of the equipment was already here at 2014. So we still have new equipment coming in. So we have, I would say, still very up-to-date labs in the labs at our campus, basically. What is part of the degree? Most certainly what you expect, right? So you do a little bit of course, we will have a lot of hands-on labs practice in the degrees, where you also will do soldering, development of the PCB, measurement. You see in the middle, there's a small robot which is following the black line. That's something students learn to, not the hardware itself, but the software program at our end. And on the left bottom, you're going to see myself with the robot. This is an old seized out robot, but this robot was completely programmed by students, is running on a Raspberry Pi, where you have to fetch information via video cameras and basically also program the robot that it's following a line, program that a web server is on there so that you can open your smartphone, connect to it. The robot has a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you can basically drive the robot from your smartphone, or you can set it in an automatic mode where it's following the white line on the black ground or the black line on the white ground up to the student group. This is one of the courses. To give you a bit more overview about the degree, I have a very simple graphical overview here of the electrical engineering degree. That's a Bachelor of Science degree. If I have forgotten to mention that, we have a 3.5 years degree. So that's 7 semesters. And we have structured our degree into year 1, year 2, year 3/4. All right. And what you can see here is that year 1 it has all yellow boxes. Each box represents a module or a course, if you want to say it this way. This is based on fundamentals, right? So the first year is more or less only fundamental courses. There's something like intro math, applied math, there's basics of programming, there's basics of electrical engineering, there's introduction to electrical. So there are a couple of courses which are all we consider fundamentals. And in this first year, you will most certainly also sit together with other engineers, mechanicals, which we also offer, mechatronics engineering, which we also offer, industrial engineering, which we also offer, and biomaterial science. Right? So they all share the majority of the fundamental courses in the first year with the other groups. Then if you move into year 2, this is more where you have specific basics, right? So this is more where you don't have courses together with mechanical students or mechatronics students, where you have your own courses just dedicated to electrical engineering. And this is where the majority of knowledge from the first year, from the fundamentals, will be used. Right? So you're kicking in like microcontrollers at this point, fields and waves, signal transmission. Then we have object-oriented programming as an additional programming course, drives and power electronics, and all these kind of things which kick in semester 3. And in semester 4, there will be additional courses like embedded systems. That's the robot you have just seen on the slide before, which you're going to program that the robot is following the white line on the ground. We have also system theory and controls, which is the basic subject if you study electrical engineering. And we have materials and manufacturing of electronics, just as an example. On the left-hand side, you can see a couple of other boxes. I show you on the next slide in a bit more zoomed-in version. So year 3 and 4 is, of course, also incorporating the internship semester or the semester abroad and the final thesis. I have prepared a bit more zoomed-in version. So let's have a quick look if I can bring that up. Yeah, so that was the first year, and the second year, which I just already basically explained. One special thing is to mention on the left-hand side, we have 2 of these, it's not quite orange, but these 2 boxes in a different color, which we call focus field subjects, right? So you study electrical engineering, but within electrical engineering, you can choose 1 out of 3 specialization directions, right? So you can select communications, for example, you can select another one or even a third one. And what does it mean when you do the electrical engineering degree and you're gonna select 1 focus field, and each focus field is consisting out of 4 modules, right? And you do these 4 modules, then you will get this focus field subject also named on your degree, right? So it says then you studied electrical engineering with the focus of, and then the focus field you have selected. All of these subjects, however, have a very, very big part of labs associated to it, right? So we are an applied sciences university and quite small one. So we really focus on hands-on experience. So looking at the modules, you can see here, there is nearly every module having a lab associated to it. So that means you're going to go into a lab, you're going to work on hardware or software, and you're going to learn basically how these things are in real life. Okay, so year 2, then is coming year 3, year 4. You can see there's focus field subject 3 and focus field subject 4 on the left-hand side at the top. And at the bottom, you're going to see the 3 focus fields you can choose from. So the first one is electronics. And if you choose to take electronics, you will have the following subjects: low power design, design of environmentally friendly circuits and recycling of electronics, optoelectronics, and nanoelectronics. Right? If you select focus field communication, then you have other subjects. If you choose the focus field of controls, then you will have the 3rd subject named there. As we have English as a language of instruction, we basically offer also to students to take German as a foreign language. And why is that? In our degree, we have an internship semester, or as an alternative, a semester abroad. For the internship semester, usually you're going to go to a company, a German company, or you can also go worldwide, but the majority of students coming to Germany would like to do this internship semester in a German company. It is beneficial to be able to at least speak a couple of words German, to introduce yourself, to get a couple of sentences spoken, and so on. Right? So that's why we're going to strongly recommend to students to take early on, maybe 2nd, 3rd semester, German as a foreign language, and you can also get credits for that one. Internship semester is one part, so you can decide to do an internship semester to go in a company, to work as in engineer-related topics. You can also decide to go as a semester abroad. So you can go to one of our partner universities. We will have lots of partner universities worldwide. Right now, we've signed up with a new one in America, where there's also no fee involved. So you can go there, you can study at our partners, you don't need to pay fees. And of course, if you decide to go in a study abroad semester, you would need to sign a learning agreement beforehand with our university, basically saying, okay, which courses would you like to take at the partner university? And when you go to the partner, you do these courses, you pass these courses, you're going to come back, you get our semester abroad accredited, and then you basically get full credits for the semester. This is happening in semester 6, so basically the end of the 3rd year. And then it's only the semester 7, which is the last one left. And in this one is majorly the bachelor thesis located, which you can do in a company. You can also do this at the partner institution. You can also do this inside the university. So you can also talk to professors on campus and can figure out what kind of subject, what kind of interest you have, and they may be able to offer you a topic which you can do on campus. There's also colloquium and then a couple of block seminars. They will not be offered on campus, they will be offered online. One of them is entrepreneurship, the other one is technology and innovation management, and then there's another elective you can freely choose from the whole university. So you can also go to a different faculty and can do one subject there. The reason why it's structured in this way is usually we figured out that in the past it was difficult for us to get companies to place students for only 6 semesters or only 3 semesters. So with this structure, we're going to have here internship semester in semester 6 and bachelor thesis in semester 7. You're going to have the chance to work within 9 months in a company. And they appreciate that from the point of view that they don't have to introduce students to new topics on a very short term. General information about our university. The application and the requirements, they are going through, we enroll in the bachelor programs only in the winter semester. That means it's starting in October. The application starts usually in May and the deadline is in July, August. That changes from year to year. What are the requirements? You need to have an academic qualification, which is comparable to the German Abitur or the entry qualification for applied science universities. So if you have done a high school certificate or an A certificate or whatever it's called in your country, then most certainly you tick the box to be able to come into this degree. You also need to have done an 8-week internship, which has to be done before you start with the degree. It, however, can also be done once you've come here within the first year of your degree. The application process is not via our university, it's via UniAssist. We have heard that already from one of the other presenters. Staff student accommodation, living costs. We don't have tuition fees. I already mentioned that one. However, there will be a small fee of about 300 euros, which covers a couple of expenses within the university and also gives you free public transport in the whole state of North Rhine-Westphalia. There will be student dormitories available, which you can rent, but the majority of our students living in private accommodation, shared flats. So Kleve is a city of about 50,000 of population, and we're going to have about 5,000 students here. What do you need to consider for living? It's about 800 to 850 euros per month, but this also includes the fees, the rent, the utilities, even some money for leisure. So that's something you're looking about. And that's basically already a short wrap up and the end of our university. Questions will be answered in the chat. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Yes, indeed, the questions are being answered really nicely by Doris, and thanks, Doris, to that. And thank you for your presentation. And yeah, so let us now move to our last speaker, but not least, of course, for today. So from Anhalt University of Applied Sciences, we have Professor Dr. Marc Enzmann, and now we're returning to the master's level, and he will present a master's program in electrical and computer engineering. Yeah, the floor is yours, Professor.
Okay, thanks, Georgie, for the introduction. I need to take yes, my name is Marc Enzmann. I'm the Dean of the Department of Mechanical, Electrical, and Industrial Engineering. And I'm the program advisor for the Electrical and Computer Engineering program, which is one of the international programs at Anhalt University. First of all, let me show you where will you find us. Anhalt is a historical region right in the center of Germany. If you follow the arrows, we are slightly south of Hanover, 200 kilometers from Hanover to our campus, 70 kilometers north of Leipzig, and southwest of Berlin. We have the Bernburg campus for agricultural programs. We have the economics department in Bernburg. Dessau is rather famous for architecture and design. The Bauhaus used to be in Dessau for a couple of years. And at Köthen, we have taken up the engineering in 1891. The university opened at 1893, so of course not the computer science department, but electrical engineering and process engineering has some history there. My department has 27 full-time lecturers. We have approximately 95 researchers and staff, whereas the researchers are something like 75. So for University of Applied Sciences, we are not too bad in taking in money for research projects. We do have 5 bachelor programs. We have 7 master programs. You'll find full-time and part-time study programs, and you'll find on and off campus studies. The picture showing our 2 buildings. The upper picture is the first building that was erected for the university in 1893. It was finished in 1893, and below you'll see the newer building where we have our offices for the mechanical engineers and the industrial engineers. In the upper building, you'll find the electrical people. We do have a couple of international programs at Anhalt University. In Köthen, we do have 4. The first 3 you'll find on this transparency. If you are interested in one of those, please check the web pages. I can't really tell you can't give you a lot of the details. These are not my programs. We do have the Master of Biomedical Engineering. We have a Master of Photovoltaic Engineering Sciences, and we have in the next department, our colleagues have a Master of Molecular Biology. All these are international English language programs that you will find on the web page. Now, my program, a short summary: we have a 3-semester program, 90 ECTS. We take electrical engineers and engineers from related fields. We'll come to that in a second. We have a restricted admission, so we'll have to talk about the admission requirements in a couple of seconds. Program fees, yes, there is a program fee that is around 90 euros per semester. Tuition is right now under discussion because we are looking for a way to integrate our international students in the master program more directly into a couple of activities. For example, what we cannot yet offer because we simply don't have the resources right now is additional German language programs. We can offer German language programs, but not on the complete range from A1 to C2. So that's something that's under discussion right now. But if you apply for the winter semester, this will not concern you. We do have 3 specializations: automation systems, embedded systems, and communication systems. And if you take a look at these tables, you'll find the program for automation systems, summer term and winter term. Left column is the summer term, software design, development of electronic systems, and so on. If you take a close look, then you'll find that we have 4 specialization electives, and we have a non-technical elective, and we have the project work. So you can, for all specializations, you can design your program. So you have a lot of possibilities to select from different topics, different courses that you think will fit into your personal needs. Embedded systems, a similar construction. There's a slight deviation here in the communication systems. The communication systems is a double degree program with universities from Russia and Ukraine, which is right now a bit of a interesting story. We don't know how this is going to be continued. For these double degree programs, we do have a fixed set of courses that we need to offer. So in the winter term, there is not all that much specialization possible. You see there on the electives for the winter term, there are none, but nevertheless, there is a project work, there's a non-technical, and there are 2 other specialization electives. So even if you take up the communication systems, you will have a good chance to tailor your program to your needs. Admission requirements. What I've put down here is the minimum admission requirements. You need to have a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering, electronics, electrical and computer, embedded systems, communication, automation, or something very closely related. This is not to keep applicants out of the program. This is sort of a condensed experience, I'd say. We have, in other programs, we have found that if the competencies that the applicants bring into the program are not sufficiently closely related to the topics that we teach in the program, then it's very nice to accept the applicants into the program, but in the program themselves, then this is going to be a bit of a bother. Usually it takes much longer than the 3 semesters that we plan. The minimum grade, according to the German equivalent grades, calculated in the Bavarian formula, is 2.7. You should have a language proficiency in English that should be a good B2 in the European reference frame, meaning IELTS larger or equal to 6.0 in all 4 tests. So writing, reading, speaking, and listening. Again, this is not to keep people out of the program, but it is condensed experience. It is usually a bit of a bother if your English proficiency is insufficient to the program. Please note we have a restricted intake. We take something like 25 students per semester. So it's a bit of a stiff competition, has been in the last 2 semesters. The program is relatively new. Application deadlines are January 15 and July 15, and please apply at UniAssist. If you're looking for the program right now, you won't find it because January 15 is past, and the UniAssist pages will open again. If I'm not much mistaken, in April, around April 15 or so. Yeah, the fees, we don't have a tuition as of now. So if you apply for the winter term, your entire program will be free of tuition, but you have to pay for the Studentenwerk, which is a €90 fee per semester. Studentenwerk are the people who are running the dormitories and the cafeteria. So it's sort of an investment. You'll get some of it back if you have a room in the dorm, or if you use the cafeteria frequently. If you need some additional information, feel free to contact me. It might take a couple of days. I have taken up the office of Dean some weeks ago, and I'm still not quite familiar with the job. So there's a lot of stuff on my table right now. You may also, of course, contact the international office. You may contact the SSC, the Student Service Center, regarding any questions to the program. And thanks then for listening, and I'll be answering your questions.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Enzmann. Again, another wonderful presentation. And now what I would say that I would invite our guests to turn on their cameras if they feel comfortable with that, and we can move to the questions. So it was really vibrant, the Q&A, and I really liked it. And I collected some questions that I would like to ask to you all. So first question would be related to deadlines. Some of you mentioned it more or less, but still. So I will combine these questions into one. So are there any different deadlines for EU and non-EU students when the application, or in terms of opening the application period? Is it also different somehow for EU, non-EU students? And last but not least, how long does it take to receive an answer if the person is accepted or not? Because some students said that they had visa issue is sometimes a concern, and if they get it late, they will not have enough time to prepare this visa application. So difference in deadlines, difference in when application or period starts for EU, non-EU students, and how long does it take to receive an answer from your programs. So let's start with Professor Dr. Enzmann, as he has just finished. So, and you are unmuted, sorry.
Okay. First of all, no, there is no difference wherever you are from. The deadlines are the same. There is going to be some additional time to be taken into consideration. UniAssist usually has something in between 2 to 4 weeks until we receive the results. So please, if you want to join us in the program, don't wait for January 15, or don't wait for July 15. Give us some time, give UniAssist some time. And once I get the applications on my table, it usually, as the application deadline is the starting point, from then on, it usually takes something like 3 to 4 weeks. And the third question was, there was a third one.
So about, I think you already addressed this also, when the application period opens, whether it's difference.
Yes.
You said it. So you said how long does it take to take the answers, and also the deadline. So you answered all the questions. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you very much. Let's move now maybe to Professor Dr. Förstner, Paderborn.
Yeah. So for the electrical systems engineering, there might be different deadlines. I'm not sure, but I know for international, it's at least May 31st for winter semester, so which starts in October. And for it's November 30th for summer semesters, so which start in April. So the next deadline is May 31st for international students.
Okay, great.
And so we use also Uni Assist. So we have some weeks of processing there, and then we have a look at those. So it's not like we can guarantee it's done within 2 weeks, but for sure we try to have it finished 2 months before the program starts.
Okay, good to know. Thank you very much. Let's move now to Professor Dr. Stamm.
All right, can you once repeat the question, please?
Yeah, sure. So are there any differences in terms of deadlines for EU and non-EU students, or also differences in terms of when application process starts for your program? And how long does it take to receive an answer, whether it's positive or negative?
As far as I know, there's no difference between national citizens and European citizens or international citizens. They all have initially the same deadline. Sometimes it happens that the deadline for national students and national students considers European students as well is extended slightly, right? So that can happen. Usually the deadline is about 15th of July. The portal opens about May, beginning of May, and until mid of July is the portal open. Sometimes for national students, includes Europeans, it's extended by a month, right? But this is always up on the website of the university. The application process is via Uni Assist, so they need to hand in all their documents there. They're going to do some pre-checks, and then they're going to send us they also send the letters out to the students, right? Sometimes it takes a bit more, so, and then they get back to us and maybe have some special questions for certain students and certain degrees with us, and then they get back to the students. It is usually the case that it takes a while, right? And depending on when they apply, if they apply at the beginning of May, they may receive the answer sooner compared to someone who's applying on the 15th of July. And sometimes we have the problem that once they get the letter and acceptance, they need to organize the visa in their countries. And that seemed to be difficult in the last 2 years due to Corona, right? And there have been some countries like in Africa where the embassies were completely closed. So we couldn't enroll anybody from Nigeria, for example, in the past. So it always depends on how quickly they can get an appointment. And we do have students arriving late, right, which is for a bachelor degree, which is 3.5 years, not that big problem compared to a master's degree where they only have 1.5 years. So if they miss the first semester, they missed a third of the degree. If they miss the first semester with us, they still can start and do some self-study and stuff like this. So we support them with that. However, we don't recommend students coming later than 4 weeks into the first semester, right? And I think that should be, I hope I addressed all your questions.
Yeah, you did. Thank you very much. Very good points also raised regarding how quickly one applies and etc. So thank you very much. And now with Dr. Hofmann. And by the way, because many of you already have mentioned Uni Assist, I'm just also sending out the link in the chat for our students. For those who don't know what does Uni Assist mean, you can also read it out, an article which is really comprehensive, and you will understand what we are talking about when we mention Uni Assist. Yeah, Dr. Hofmann.
Hey, thank you very much. I just started screen sharing. I hope you can all see the data. So for our smart energy systems applicants, we have this overview. So application period is mainly in May. We have the language requirements. English language should be the certificates handed in until end of May. For the German language proficiency, it's suitable to hand them in until end of September. We also require the Uni Assist preliminary documentation. This must be handed in until 15th of July. Yeah, this are our main data for the SES application.
Okay.
I hope this answers all the questions.
The last question, if that you have already answered now, if no, no problem, was about how long would you say the students should expect, when they should receive the answers?
After everything is handed in, it takes up 3 to 4 weeks until we have a definite decision. So it's best to hand in, to apply early in May. Then you will get a response early.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now let's move to another interesting question regarding the gap year. So the student asked whether it will be a problem for one of your programs if the student has a gap year, and if it is a problem, if 1 year is not a problem, so is there any amount of gap years that might be a problem for you? And now let's start maybe with Professor Dr. Förstner.
Sorry, I was just in the FAQ answering something. So what was the question? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the question was about the gap year. So student asked whether if he or she has a gap year, it is a problem for your program. For example, gap year of 5 years or 1 year.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Dr. Hofmann?
In our case, it's also no problem to have a gap between some bachelor study and the following master study. So it's okay.
Great. Thank you very much. Professor Dr. Enzmann?
No problem whatsoever. I would recommend, however, that if the gap is rather long, something like 5 to 10 years or so, and the students are not sure whether they still know how to handle university life. I mean, it's a different kind of life than in a full-day job. I would recommend that they take up some learning activities again before they decide to join a master's program. We have had the experience that some students who have been out of the university for too long take slightly longer than those who just finished their programs, their bachelor programs, because first of all, you're coming to a foreign country, you're coming to a foreign university system, things are different, and learning is something that you can learn, but learning is something that you can unlearn again. So really check whether you want, first of all, check whether you want to do it, and don't hesitate to try something, I don't know, some additional courses in your home country for a semester, and then go abroad and try your luck.
Good advice. Thank you very much. And Professor Dr. Stamm?
I guess that's not applicable for a bachelor's degree, right? So there would be no gap year.
Yeah, I mean, if after high school they don't, yeah, I mean.
No, we don't have a problem with that. I must agree with Professor Enzmann that, of course, being too long outside university makes it difficult to get back in. But usually from high school, there's nobody is taking a 5-year break before he's doing a bachelor's degree. So I guess that's not applicable.
Okay, okay, thank you. And another interesting question that we had is about requirements. I received lots of questions about you, despite the fact that you mentioned about English language requirements. There's still some specific question, like two types of questions. So if I studied all in English, for example, this is more relatable to a bachelor, MA level studies, master level studies. So if I studied my bachelor, did my bachelor totally in English, do I still need to provide IELTS or TOEFL, or am I exempt from this? And the second question, now applicable also for a bachelor level, if I am a native speaker from English-speaking country, am I exempted, or do I still have to provide one of these certificates? Let's start with Dr. Hofmann.
Okay, so for native speakers, it's very easy. They're excluded from these certificates. we expect a native speaker to speak English.
Definitely.
And for the others, just help me. What was the other question?
If I did my bachelor all in English.
Okay. If the whole previous study was done in English and the language of instruction was English, we also accept this as a kind of certificate. We just need some kind of written document from the university where it says that everything was in English. Then it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Good to know. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Stamm.
Yeah, I think that would be more or less the same. So we do have a list online which says, okay, which countries are accepted from providing or needing to bring by an English language certificate. This applies for us to the bachelor and master level. And the list does not necessarily only have English main speaking countries, because we had a problem in the past about Canada, right? With Canada, depending from where you are, your French speaking background or English speaking background. So yes, we do have a list with countries, and these are usually the Commonwealth countries and a few more. And even if you just presented a bachelor's degree today, even if you come into a master's degree, we also accept courses if they have the bachelor done in a completely English language, then it's also deemed equivalent.
Mm-hmm. Great, good to know. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Enzmann.
Principally, there's no question at all if you're a native English speaker. I'm not going to grade you on your language proficiency. No, but there's a slight issue that I have with if you can provide a transcript of record stating that your language of instruction was English, then this is okay for me too. But I would recommend, again, I always give these recommendations, but I would recommend that you nevertheless take an English test. First of all, to make sure for us that your English proficiency is sufficient, and second of all, to make sure for yourself that your English proficiency is sufficient. Be sure that you are prepared when you go to Germany. It's not restricted to Germany. If you go to a foreign country to study, be sure you are prepared. And IELTS or TOEFL is a very small investment. If you consider that the investment, moving abroad and having problems, language problems, then would be much larger. So take this test and make sure you are really prepared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another good advice. Thank you very much. And Professor Dr. Förstner?
Yeah, so Sam, in Paderborn, we have a list of countries, but otherwise you have to provide a certificate, but we take all kinds of certificates for that. So TOEFL, IELTS, what else is there? Cambridge certificate. So we are quite open there, but we need a certificate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And last but not least, and we are done, we can call it a day. Another interesting question, a couple of questions actually that I received about that. So students are worried whether, as international students, they can find student assistant jobs or internships, and whether your programs will be able to a certain extent support them with that, with finding student assistant jobs or internships. And if you can, in what sense would you be able to support them in this regard? So let's start now with Professor Dr. Stamm.
Sorry, I was checking something. I need to check something else. Can you just repeat one more time?
Yeah, sure. So about finding student assistant jobs when students are in Germany, or finding internships. So can they rely on some degree of support from your program that you will be able to a certain extent help them to find these kind of jobs or internships?
Yeah. Look, they're doing the bachelor's with us, right? So that's 3.5 years. So that's quite usually that after the first or second semester, we have had them in courses and can see how well they perform. Then usually there will be approach from the professors and offered assistant jobs, because we do have quite a big cohort of student assistant body in the faculty. However, when they need to search for an internship, we're gonna usually ask them to do that themselves because they need to go through the application process in Germany, applying with a company, applying for job positions. We do have support in creating CVs and checking CVs and stuff like that. And if they even can't very easily find positions or companies where they apply, they usually come to the individual professor, and each professor has a list of, okay, where have I been able to place students in the past? And then, of course, I can check the student and check the transcript, how good, how well he is, and then I can recommend him to send applications to certain companies. So that's definitely possible. However, we have about 300 students coming in every year, and finding, I can't give the address of the company to 300 students, obviously, but so far, I think we have about 10 to 20% who need more support, and they get more support.
Yeah, that's very important to know. Thank you very much. And yeah, Professor Dr. Förstner.
Yeah, so at Paderborn University, we have same situation. We offer many student helper jobs. So really many students do this. Others work outside of university. Well, we have mixed feelings about that because it often delays studying. So, but our experience is if you want to do an internship at a company or work at a company during summertime or whatever, you have quite good chances as electrical engineer. So, and one thing related is maybe scholarships. So if you're interested in such a thing, have a look at the DAAD side. They provide scholarships. Of course, there are many applications, but especially from some countries, others not so much. So this is also an option for funding your study.
Yeah, just thank you very much, Professor. I'm just sharing the link to our article on scholarships. They have lots of scholarship opportunities listed there. And I'm also DAD scholarship holder. I came as a DAD scholarship holder, and I would suggest students who are interested in scholarships also to attend our website, our webinar on scholarships. Thank you. And Dr. Hofmann?
So at Ansbach University of Applied Science, we also have some lists where we offer jobs for students. They are in work together with local institutes, with local faculties. And this is how students are supported in our case. Students also get involved in projects at the university. We have different partners. We work together. This is also an opportunity for students to work at the campus directly.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. It's really important information, I'm sure, for every student who has attended. And Professor Dr. Enzmann.
Yes. What we can offer rather frequently, although we can't guarantee it for everybody, is research assistant jobs. Many of our colleagues need some support in these projects, and it is quite common that master students have a part-time job in one of the research projects. We have a couple of companies who are always looking for competent electrical engineers, and we have support from it's called the Weiterbildungszentrum, and they have a rather large database of student jobs in the vicinity. So I can't guarantee financial support, but we have not yet had the problem that one of our international students had to drop out due to financial problems. That's not something I have experienced.
Yeah, thank you very much for the information. So yeah, I mean, really optimistic answers to all the questions. I think the students are really happy, and thank you very much for these wonderful presentations. I really enjoyed, and thank you for being so active in the Q&A, in the chat, and during the live Q&A. So yeah, thanks also, of course, for our guests, our students. Have many of them who attended, and it's really nice. And thanks a lot for lots of questions. So and for your interest. If you have more questions to one of the programs, you can always, as you could see, you could always send them email, and emails were available and are available on the website and in the chat also. I posted some. And if you have any general questions about studying in Germany, like about GPA converters, about scholarships in general, by the way, I also included GPA converter in the chat because in Germany GPAs are a bit different. So all this information you can send us if you can send us email at info@mygermanuniversity.com, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And also don't forget to attend our general webinars on topics of studying in Germany. And so, yeah, if you also, it would be nice to hear about your feedback, how you like this webinar, and the direct links to feedbacks are in the chat. So it will be also nice to hear from you what you think about this webinar. And yeah, once again, thanks to our guests, to our attendees. And yeah, as I said, I really enjoyed, and I hope to see you in our future webinars as well. And for now, have a good evening. Bye-bye.